Welcome to the Motivated Mompreneur Podcast. Hi, I'm Hillary Bennett, former corporate stooge turned motivated mompreneur. After becoming a mom, I realized the two options offered to moms did not work for me. I didn't want to be a stay-at-home mom, but I didn't want to work a normal 9-to-5 job either. I wanted to live into my professional calling and be a present, joyful mom. So I left my 9-to-5 and started coaching motivated mompreneurs just like you to build and grow successful, sustainable, heart-centered businesses without sacrificing their family. Join me each week as we dive into business strategy, mindset and productivity tips, inspiration, and a lot of laughs. Let's get to it. Hey mamas, welcome to another episode of the Motivated Mompreneur Podcast. I am Hillary Bennett, your mompreneur mindset, accountability, and business strategy coach. I promise I know what I do and who I am. Today is a guest expert episode and a bonus episode with my girl, Hannah McCormick. Hannah is a mom of 2 and is the CEO of HM Virtual Assistants and the creator of the LinkedIn Starter Kit. Hannah, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Hi.
So Hannah and I have become quick friends, as well as I would say, almost colleagues, if there was such a thing in mompreneur, solopreneur world, through the Motivated Mompreneur Facebook group. And she comes to the club calls. And I have to tell you, she's an absolute joy, but also a huge wealth of knowledge for everything social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, all the things, Canva, email list. I mean, this girl always has an answer to the things that we're struggling with. And we were talking about LinkedIn on the club call a couple weeks ago. And I said, Hannah, we have got to get you on the podcast because if you're like me, when I had my corporate gig, I was on LinkedIn all the time. I had a profile, I had all the things. And I think I have like 600 contacts or something. So I was pretty active. Then once I left my corporate job and started my mompreneur business, I kind of felt like LinkedIn didn't have much to offer me anymore. And in fact, it felt a little funny to even be on LinkedIn. And that is when you were like, Hillary, you are missing out, girlfriend. So I am so excited that you are here to talk to us a little bit about how we as mompreneurs can and should be using LinkedIn. But before we jump into that, why don't you tell us a little bit about your family and your business?
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. So I am a mother of 2, as Hillary said. I have 2 little girls. One's 4 and one's 2. And we live together with my husband in our tiny 2-bedroom apartment. But I had originally been working as an executive assistant. A very, very busy job, lots of booking travel and complex itineraries and everything for the CEO of a company. And unfortunately, in June of last year, as many people experienced, I got laid off. You can imagine booking travel was a little less in demand at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, because I'm sure you all know, it's very difficult to afford full-time childcare for 2 kids. So my husband was home full-time and we had to make a choice. I find another job in that client, in that atmosphere, doing something that wasn't particularly exciting, or take the risk and start my own business, which I did. My husband fully supported me, and my girls have been wonderful too. They love knowing that their mom goes to work in the bedroom every day. And so I did it. And I had to start from nothing, basically, build an entire client list, an online presence, all from scratch with very little budget to start with. And that's how social media, actually something I really didn't do a lot of beforehand. I always joke that my Instagram account was babies and cake.
Yeah.
And I very quickly had to learn how to use this tool and make it work for marketing my business. And actually, most of my clients, most of my leads come through my social media marketing efforts. And I would say LinkedIn especially, I had experience using that for finding jobs. and it was up to date for those purposes. But I had never, I mean, literally never posted on LinkedIn. I didn't even know what you could post when I first started out. But then after lots of research, talking to fellow solopreneurs, and even taking an intensive LinkedIn training program, I learned all the things that you need to do. And I have to say, there's so much opportunity on this platform. There's so much you can do with it. And I think there's so few people who know what they can really do with it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I am so excited here. So we totally know LinkedIn for what it traditionally is used for, finding jobs, networking with colleagues. But if the mom who's listening is just like me, and she's used LinkedIn in the past, but so far has probably used Facebook or Instagram, possibly Pinterest, and she's not really getting the kind of traction that she's hoping for, what are her first steps to having a successful LinkedIn presence?
Well, that's a great question. Well, the first step is to optimize your profile. And think of your LinkedIn profile like a mini website, that one that you get for free. That little top box that has the banner picture and your profile image and your headline, that is the place to make the most impact. And a lot of people will just put owner of such and such business. Like I would put owner of HM Virtual Assistants or CEO of HM Virtual Assistants. But that doesn't tell the visitor anything about me or what I do. So it's really key to make sure that you use some good keywords, because actually that headline is the first place that the algorithm for LinkedIn stops to look for keywords. So you want to make it very clear. Someone should be able to look at that header box and say, let's say for you, Hillary, for example, they go, okay, she's Hillary. She's a coach for mompreneurs, and this is how I get in touch with her. And all of that should be available in the first glance at the top of that box.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And then obviously fill out that about section. That is your place to write basically your bio. Imagine again, like it's the about you section on your website. And here's a little secret tip. It's not actually about you. It's about your client.
Always. It's not actually about you. It's about your client. So tell us more about how we can optimize that bio section, making it about the client.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Okay. So what you want to do is make sure you know who you want to talk to. That sounds simple enough, but a lot of people haven't pinned down an ideal client or a dream audience. So I'm going to use you as an example again, Hillary, but your ideal audience is a mompreneur. So you want to make sure that you're saying, I work with mompreneurs who are struggling with such and such or in need of such and such. And then this is what I do for them. And then outline it, explain it all, put it all out there for them. I help you do this, this, and this by offering this, this, and this. And you know what? You can put testimonials in your about section. It's a great place to have other people's words showcase what you do. And don't be afraid to put emojis in there. It breaks up the text. It makes it more fun. That whole idea of LinkedIn being like a stuffy corporate place is very outdated. It's a place to be yourself more than anything. And then most important thing, have a clear call to action and a way for them to get in touch with you. Make sure that they know, okay, I'm in love with this Hillary gal. I got to work with her. Here's how I'm going to do it.
That's awesome. Okay. I love that it seems like LinkedIn is offering a little bit more space and a little bit more openness than especially Instagram, but either Pinterest or Facebook too. There's such limited amount of space to really share through words who you are and what you do. And so I'm almost kind of excited thinking about LinkedIn being like, oh my gosh, I get to kind of tell who I am and what I do. I can put an emoji in there, and not because I'm limited to characters and I have to insert an emoji instead of a word. This is awesome.
Oh my gosh, there's so much space in that about section and in your experience section. And then you even have the opportunity to do featured posts. So if you wrote like a really killer article, or you've just had a podcast episode that you're really proud of, you can pin it there so it's the first thing people look at. And yeah, like it's really customizable. I think what you were saying is really on point with Instagram, with Pinterest. You get like these like tiny amount of characters to try to fit in everything you do and who you do it for. And it's really hard to make it to do that without sounding like you're stuffing a bunch of keywords in there.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in your about section in LinkedIn, you can just really tell your story and tell people why what you do is important and how you can help.
Awesome. Okay. So really getting in there, making sure that that first line tells everyone who we are and what we do, taking advantage of that about me section, really including, what we do, how we do it, or how we offer it, even testimonials, really letting it be about, letting us be ourselves. That's what you said. LinkedIn is a place to be yourself, which I think will really resonate with all the mompreneurs listening, because for most of us, if not all of us, we decided to take this leap because we wanted to just be ourselves and not have to force ourselves into a stuffy corporate box, which you're right, is sort of the impression of what LinkedIn is. So really what you're saying is that's old news. The new LinkedIn is somewhere where you can really be yourself. So if the mamas listening are like, sweet, on top of this, I'm going to go update my bio. She's got all of that profile optimized with the experience and the testimonials and the articles or the podcasts, the featured posts. How does she use it to grow her business?
Well, that's one of the beautiful things about LinkedIn as well is if you kind of think of your connections as like your first cousins, and then their connections are like second cousins, and their connections are third cousins. What happens is if you comment on someone's post, or you like the post who's within that first cousin group, their second cousins are going to see it and their third cousins are going to see it. So you don't even have to have a ton of followers, a ton of connections to have your stuff shown by people. The best thing you can do is to go in there and engage on other people's content, write meaningful comments, like it and share it. But then also in terms of creating your own content, there's so many options. For the users on their phones who use LinkedIn on their phones, there's a stories feature now, which is pretty cool and very underutilized because most people don't know about it, and it's only available on phones at the moment. There's articles, which is a great place, especially if you write a blog. There's no reason why you shouldn't just repurpose that blog post into an article and then share that. You can post videos, text, graphics. There's not really, it's basically, if you could post it on Facebook or Instagram, you can pretty much post it on LinkedIn. The trick is just making sure you've got it working for the algorithm and knowing where to put links. But really, it's just about having a conversation. And I mean, I think most of the listeners probably North American, but in Britain right now, it's Pancake Day. And I was on LinkedIn and like, there's just so many Pancake Day posts. So like, it doesn't have to, like, I think there's this idea that it has to be about your business, but it doesn't. You can share that fun or that personal content too, especially if you're a mompreneur, a solopreneur, where a lot of what you do is linked closely to who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Then you want to be showcasing yourself and connecting with people.
Okay, this is exciting, Hannah. So really, it's like LinkedIn is not that stuffy corporate platform. It can be the place where we do all the things. And it also sounds like super easy to repurpose content, which I love. I always preach that when you're first getting started or when you're trying to grow your business to that next level, really just keying in on one platform temporarily where you know your customers are. But then once you get the hang of things, is so easy to be able to bring in the other platforms if you can just repurpose your content. And it sounds like from what you're saying, there are multiple ways to repurpose content that you may be actually putting on Instagram or Facebook, that all of the different things, stories, videos, posts, blog articles, podcasts, all of these things can be put onto LinkedIn.
Oh, yes. Yes. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. It's less work to post on LinkedIn. The way LinkedIn works versus the other platforms is actually you shouldn't be posting more often than every 48 hours when you have a smaller following. When everything you post goes viral, then yes, post regularly. But a lot of people don't log into LinkedIn daily. And so they'll see your post from two days ago, from 2 weeks ago, and you'll still be getting engagement on those older posts as time goes on. So it's just really, like I like to post 3 times a week. I think that's a nice, comfortable amount to post. There's 48 hours in between each post, and you'll see that it keeps climbing slowly. And I find it so much less pressure than say like Instagram, where ideally you want to post every day if you can.
Yeah.
Again, you don't have to, but the way that their feed works, not chronologically, the more you post, the more chances are you will of being in front of someone. Whereas with LinkedIn, it's not like that.
I feel like everybody just stopped what they were doing and said, hallelujah, praise the Lord, because we all experience that hurdle of how am I going to stay on top of my social media presence? And it feels like you're having to struggle between, am I going to post every day and have that presence that I need? Or am I going to forego that opportunity and kind of stay sane, if you will? And I have, hacks on how to stay sane and still post every day, which is for a completely separate conversation. But thinking that it's actually in your benefit to post less when you have less users, that is amazing.
Yeah. And I think it also makes it easier to make sure that each post is super valuable. Because I know looking at that blank content calendar and thinking, okay, how am I going to find something valuable, say, every single day? It's just overwhelming. Whereas with LinkedIn, you're like, okay, I got 3 chances this week to say something. How am I going to say it? And things like text posts tend to do better on LinkedIn. Not always, but tend to do better than, say, graphics posts. So it's not like Instagram where you have to sit there thinking, oh God, I need to find a pretty picture that's going to look good on my grid. That doesn't matter. If you can find a great picture, awesome. Even better if you can have a quote that's aesthetically pleasing, wonderful. But really, text goes really, really well on LinkedIn, and that takes a lot of the pressure off.
Okay. So is the idea that you still want, just like in Instagram and Facebook, that you still want people to be commenting on the posts, not just liking, but commenting and sharing? Is that sort of the same across LinkedIn as it is the other platforms?
Yes, that's still very much important. I mean, LinkedIn is nice because they have a bunch of different reactions that you can do, and likes are always good, but comments are what you're aiming for. Because if I was, say, Hillary, to comment on one of your posts, everyone who's connected with me will see that I've commented on one of your posts. So that means your post will be seen by all of my connections. And that's wonderful for you, especially if I'm your ideal client. And so if you can engage comments and conversation, that's really where you should be putting your efforts. And it's great if you can tag a person who you've collaborated with, or if you have something nice to say, or share someone else's post. People are very into reciprocation in LinkedIn. If you comment on someone's post, they're very likely to comment on yours. It's sort of a paying it forward kind of feeling.
All right. Well, you certainly have me convinced. And I feel like, once I get the hang of it, I will be able to incorporate LinkedIn into my normal social media routine. But tell us what you offer that can help us really get the hang of using LinkedIn so it becomes an easy and efficient and profitable revenue generating activity in our business.
So I'm glad you asked that, because this is exactly why I created the LinkedIn Starter Kit. It's essentially the resource that I wish I had when I first started my business, instead of having to like research and dive, do deep digging into looking for the information. Because let's face it, it's not easily available, especially when it comes to LinkedIn. So I basically created my LinkedIn Starter Kit as a step-by-step guide. It walks you through identifying your ideal audience, coming up with a brand identity that will appeal to them. The whole of part 2 is all about building that profile, step by step, walking you through doing your header, your banner image, your about section. There's even a script to help you, so you don't have to just start from scratch. Updating your experience sections, how to make the best use of your skills section. And then the next 2 parts are about creating content that is engaging, coming up with themes and planning it out, and then finding connections and engaging with that audience, and all about how to do that. So it really walks you through from A to B. It's literally everything I know. I've put it into one starter kit, because I kept having the same conversations over and over again. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to put this all in one place to make it as easy as possible, so people don't have to deal with the stress that I did at the beginning.
I love it. I love it. And what I love so much about people like you who are bringing all of their knowledge together and packaging it so that we can get things done faster and better is that we get to take advantage of all of your experience and training by buying this starter kit. And so it's like, thank you for taking that training and investing all of that time. And thank you a second time for making sure we don't have to make that large of an investment and that much of a time investment. And I think that is the most beautiful thing about how mompreneurs are, is that we are able to just, help make other people's lives easier. So thank you for that. That is so exciting. How do people find the LinkedIn starter kit? Because I know they're going to want it.
Oh, yes. So you can get it from my website, which is hmvirtualassistance.com. And I'm actually letting you download part 1 for free, because even though this part is super value packed, it is essential before you do any kind of social media marketing. So I give that part away for free, because every single mompreneur needs to do that step.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm actually having a special offer coming up, which is where I'm giving not only the LinkedIn starter kit, but the Instagram starter kit too, which are my 2 preferred social media platforms for marketing, and a bundle of Canva templates to get you started, because I know the design part can be a real mind block for a lot of people. I'm giving all 3 of those in one exclusive bundle at 40% off the regular price.
Wow.
That, like, the price it would be if you bought those individually. So you get all of that at 40% off. And that's part of a little flash sale that I'm doing to celebrate launching these kits. And as I say, you can get them from my website. There's also a link in my LinkedIn bio. I'd love for you to connect with me on LinkedIn as well. And yeah, it means so much to me that I can pay it forward and help some other mompreneurs.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, that bundle sounds like such a good deal. I mean, to be able to get your insight and information on both LinkedIn and Instagram, plus the Canva templates, it's like, that's how you just get started right there. It seems like that's the fast track to building your online presence or growing even your online presence. And I will be sure to include the links to where you can buy the kits, the bundle. I'll be sure to also link Hannah's website and her LinkedIn profile so we can all go and connect on LinkedIn. But before we leave, Hannah, is there any kind of advice or just a last comment, insight, wisdom about your experience in utilizing LinkedIn for your business and why we should kind of jump on that bandwagon?
Yeah. Don't be afraid to show up. I think that's the biggest one. It can be scary to be visible and vulnerable on your social media platforms, especially with LinkedIn that has that, that reputation of being super stuffy and corporate-y, and showing up as an authentic mother who is also a business owner. But there are so many of us on there. You would be amazed when you start showing up as yourself. You won't be able to look anyway. Everywhere you look, there's going to be fellow mompreneurs there cheering you on and supporting you.
Love it. Love it. Okay, ladies. Well, if you are like me, you are going to be diving into your LinkedIn profile and hopefully grabbing this incredible bundle so that you can, like I said, kind of hit that on-ramp at high speed. Hannah, when is that flash sale starting?
It is starting on Monday, February 22nd. It's going to be a 4-day sale.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, ladies, make sure to get that before the price goes up and you have to buy everything individually. It sounds like an absolutely incredible tool. I just can't thank you enough, Hannah, for joining us and sharing all of these little secrets and tips with us. It's just been such a pleasure having you on the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Hillary. It's always such a pleasure to talk to you. And our Mompreneur Club meetings are the highlight of my week.
Me too, girl. Me too. So if you guys want to join Hannah and me every single week, we get together on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and everyone's invited. So if you want to come, join the Motivated Mompreneur community Facebook group, and you'll be invited automatically to these calls. And they're so wonderful. We talk about kids, life, fun stuff, girly stuff, but we also talk about business. We exchange tips. It's like, I feel every time I leave one of these calls, and Hannah, I'd love to hear your input too. I feel connected, I feel motivated, and I have a whole page of notes of things I can do to improve my business.
Oh yeah. I'm a member of a couple different communities, but the Motivated Mompreneur, I love showing up because I feel like I can be honest about how I'm feeling about my business and like what I'm struggling with, as well as what is going well. And like you said, there's just such a supportive community. People are not stingy with the support and the advice and the tips. It's very generous community.
I couldn't agree more. It is such an amazing place to hang out. So mamas, thank you for sharing your most valuable resource with Hannah and I today, and that is your time. I hope that you come back next week for another dose of inspiration and information to build the business of your dreams without sacrificing your family. As a mom, I know your most valuable resource is your time, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for tuning in today. If you like what you hear and want to connect more, head over to www.hillarybennett.com/podcast or find me on Instagram @CoachHillary, and let's get to know each other better. Also, if you could take a couple minutes to leave me a rating and review, that will help me reach other amazing mompreneurs, multiply their bottom line by